Hello, and welcome. I'm Dr. Natalie Masson. I'm so happy to see that there are already folks here ready to get started. If you're here already, please let me know where you are. Where in the world are you? What time of day is it? I'm in San Diego. It is 9:30 in the morning, and it's a beautiful sunny day here. How is the weather where you are? And Say says, "Hi, are you live yet? I can't see anything." I am live now. I hope that you can see me. Can someone else chime in and tell me if you can see me and if you can hear me? Say says, "Now I can." Hi, Say, how are you? Great to see you here. Farouz, I am French living in the UAE. Becky is here. Hello, Becky from Mexico. It's 1:30. Oh, I thought it said 1:30 a.m. That was just a glare on my screen. I was like, that's not possible, is it? You're not that far from me. Allie M. Hello, Allie. Verena, I see so many familiar names. Many of you are already signed up for the challenge that's starting on Monday. We're just going to chat a little bit while we're waiting for people to come on board because the topic today is um, kind of a heavy one, and I don't want to do it in a heavy way, but I want it to be really informative. And some of the stories I'm telling and the knowledge I'm going to share, I want people to be able to hear it from the beginning. So we're going to take a few minutes to connect here while people are checking in. So if you're just coming on board, let me know where you are in the world. Also, if you have specific questions that you're hoping I'll be getting to, this is a great time to put them in the chat because I'll take a minute to look that over and make sure that I'm going to address your questions. So the general topic is miscarriages and egg quality and how egg quality is related to miscarriages and what we can do about egg quality, if anything, to prevent miscarriages. A couple days ago, I did a talk about stress management and how stress is related to fertility and some kind of novel ways that we can approach reducing stress in our system. So I'll talk a little bit at the end about how all this connects together because it's really related. Farouz, you're French. I'm probably saying your name wrong. Faro? There's no way you can communicate pronunciation to me from where you are. So apologize if I'm butchering your name. You did sign up for the Chill Challenge. I'm excited that you'll be joining us. So for those who aren't aware, Hannah from New York City. Hello, Hannah. On Monday, we have a really special event kicking off that I'm super excited about. We did this for the first time in September, and it was such an amazing experience for everyone else and myself watching everyone go through it and get such good results that we're doing it again starting Monday. This is the 7-day TTC Chill Out Challenge, and it's a cumulative program where each day you're going to be doing 15 to 20 minutes of guided practices that are going to guide your mind and body to come into a more calm and aligned place. It's a little bit hard for me to describe exactly what we do and how it works. It seems like there's a little bit of magic in there. I'm going to elaborate on it more at the end. I don't want to take too much time at the beginning here, but just so you know that that's what people are saying that they have joined and are going to be starting on Monday if you see those comments in here. So if you did it last time and you want to do it again, please join us. Each time you're going to experience it differently, even though the material would be mostly the same. A different time, a different space, you'll pick up different things and experience them differently. Okay, let's see who else is here. And please share comments, share questions in the comments if you have questions about improving egg quality and miscarriage in particular. Ida from Sweden, hi. Erica from New York City, 12:30 there. A Lebanese name, okay. Farouz then, okay. Kendra from Saskatchewan. And Kendra did the last Chill Challenge. Kendra, you're welcome to share anything else if you want to while we're here, but that's yours to share if you choose. Um, and so we have a great group here coming together this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are in the world. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Dr. Natalie Masson. Most of you know me through this YouTube channel and the meditations and affirmation recordings that I've been sharing here. So most of you already know that my approach to fertility is about naturally bringing the mind and body into alignment, about nourishing our whole system, not just our bodies, but taking care of our emotions, bringing everything into alignment. And you might not be aware of it through my YouTube recordings, but I'm also a proponent of um, accessing all different kinds of resources that are available to us. I like to start with the natural resources, but I'm also very supportive of exploring medical assessments and medical interventions just to understand really my top priority is for everyone to be as empowered as possible, to know what all of our options are, to really understand what's going on in your body, and to understand what you can do to best support your fertility based on your priorities and how you want to work with your own body. So the recordings on the channel are the pieces that I felt that I could best deliver to people who might be arriving with no background to what I'm doing, no introduction, just dropping in, putting in earphones and listening to something. So I've created a certain kind of material for those recordings that I believe that people can just drop into and immediately start getting some benefits. Now, there are a lot of other things that I offer that are not on the channel that way because they require more cumulative learning to be able to really comprehend what's going on. And that's part of what I'm doing through the 7-day chill out challenge is we're starting that cumulative learning process. So there's a whole mixture between what I'm delivering on YouTube that you can access right away and the things that require a little bit of a process to integrate. Okay, so I hope you're reading the comments, everybody. Kendra's sharing. I've popped in as I love Dr. Masson's wealth of knowledge. Thank you. But after the last chill challenge, I became pregnant. I'm 7 weeks now, and everything is going well. Congratulations, Kendra. This is one of my very special sound healing instruments, and I like to ring that gong for really newsworthy events like that. So Kendra, 7 weeks pregnant, right after she finished the chill challenge, and she was in there every day, really engaged, really getting the practices. So that's like really amazing, and it hasn't been a short journey for her. So these are the stories that really warm my heart, and that is a lot of why I'm here doing these things today. So thank you, Kendra, for opening up and sharing that. Okay, so let's get into our topic for today, which is miscarriages and egg quality. So if you've experienced a miscarriage, up to you if you want to say, that's me, I've been through this, I get it. This is something that is a sticky topic socially that people don't share a lot about for a whole lot of reasons. Um, and some of it might be social stigma, feeling like it's just too private, feeling like people won't understand. All these are valid reasons. And sometimes it can help to hear people say, you hear a lot of celebrities coming out about their pregnancy losses, and that helps to normalize. It helps us to realize that it's not that uncommon and it's something that we can get through. And so I've been very open in sharing about my path, that I did have 2 miscarriages in between my first child and second child. And if you'd like to chime in and share about anything about that yourself, you're welcome to do that too. It can help just to know that we're not alone in this. So, but you don't have to share. I can assume that most of you here have been through a few things. And miscarriage is something that can have, a lot of people are, it's something that we don't really know much about typically until we're faced with it. And it's something we don't really want to think about. We just want to like cross our fingers and hope that we never end up down that path. once you do end up down that path, you really want to know what you can do to not end up down that path again. And most of what you'll find is miscarriage is very common. It just happens randomly, and there's nothing you can do about it. If it's happened to you once, it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you again. That's usually the story that you'll hear if you're 35 and younger. If you're 35 and over, and especially if you're 40 and over, you might hear a slightly different narrative. It might sound like um, miscarriage is super common after age 40. As you get older, you're more likely to have miscarriages. And you might even hear something like, you're probably going to have more miscarriages, or there's nothing you can do about having those miscarriages. It's just a roll of the dice. So when I went through my miscarriages, I was 45. So I had my first child when I was 42. We started trying again when I was 44. And it took a good long while to get pregnant, possibly because I was still breastfeeding at that time. And then after I night weaned my daughter, then I got pregnant right away. I was 45 at that time. And that pregnancy miscarried at 9 weeks. I got pregnant right away again, 2 cycles later, and that pregnancy also miscarried at around 9 weeks. It was actually 12 weeks when it finally resolved. So, but that's a story for another day. So at that point, I felt I really needed to, well, actually, I am very much an information seeker. I want to get full assessment, understand everything that's going on. So even when I was having the very first miscarriage, I wanted to get to the bottom of it and do everything I could to find out what was the cause. So you've probably heard that most miscarriages are related to are caused by chromosomal abnormalities coming from the mother's egg. Chromosomal abnormalities can also come from the sperm side. So as the egg is developing and as the embryo is developing, the DNA are doing their thing. This isn't exactly my area, so forgive my general descriptions, but everything is dividing and growing. And if the DNA are not right to begin with, it's very hard for that division to happen correctly. And we can end up with chromosomally abnormal embryos that don't survive. And sometimes they make it farther along. And the well-known chromosomal abnormality leads to, the most well-known one leads to Down syndrome, which can lead to a surviving child. But many of the abnormalities will terminate on their own sometime during the first trimester of pregnancy. So I'm still getting used to this whole dynamic of being live, talking to people who can't actually talk back to me, and then trying to read comments so that I can interact with who is trying to interact with me through through messages here. So bear with me as I try to sort through this new way of thinking and interacting. Becky, thank you for sharing about your experience. So when I was going through my first miscarriage, I wanted to know what was the cause, even though, let's say 95% chance it's due to egg quality. Well, the way I'm thinking of it, what if it's the other 5% and it was due to something else? I would want to know so I could pursue that. So what I did was I found out that I could get the miscarriage tissues tested. I could send them into a lab and have them tested, which I did. And it was actually really helpful. The report came back saying what they found. They could tell which chromosome was incorrect or missing. And furthermore, there was a little piece in the corner that my doctor didn't even tell me about, because my doctor read me the results over the phone and said, okay, it was due to whatever, chromosome 9 or 17 or whatever it was. And I said, well, can you fax me the report? I want to see it. And in the upper right corner, it said maternal contribution. So that meant that it definitively came from the egg. I don't know how they tell those things, not my specialty, but they could tell me that it came from the egg. So this was really helpful information to me. It was a little bit disappointing in a sense. It's like, oh, it was my egg. But that helped me know that this was what was going on. I didn't have to explore all those other issues. Next time through, um, I got pregnant 2 cycles later, miscarried again, went through the whole process, sent the tissues in, and got the same report back. Different chromosome, but also due to maternal contribution. So it was very clear to me I was falling into the category of women in their 40s who are having egg quality issues. And at that point, most of the word on the street was that's the way it goes. You're lucky you're getting pregnant at all. Egg quality is not something that we can control. Eggs get old and they are just not as good. They're not as viable. But I did find one website on the naturalfertility-info.com. Oh no, naturalfertilityinfo.com website, I think is what it is, that talked about egg quality, and that it suggested that there was this 90-day window before ovulation when you can influence your egg quality through your lifestyle choices, through taking care of your health, through eating well. The things that you do impact that egg as it's maturing, especially during that window. And if you take better care of yourself during that 3 months before ovulation, that's the time when you can kind of shift the tide and have a better egg developing to have better chance at a chromosomally normal egg being released at ovulation so that you can have a successful pregnancy. And I couldn't find any references to the research about that. It was just some claim on this website that I couldn't verify. And I didn't really have the time and space to become a biochemistry researcher and figure all that out myself. So I said, well, that's the only hope for me to have a successful pregnancy, is just to trust that maybe this is true and give it a try. So I decided I would give it one more try. And this time I would actually take 3 full months, purposely not try to make sure that I did not get pregnant, and do everything that I could to nourish myself to hopefully boost my egg quality. And most of you know the story, how it ends. The very next cycle, after my 3 months, I got pregnant, and that was my that was my daughter, who's now 3.5 years old. It's really remarkable how these emotions can stay so fresh over so much time. And so I didn't bring a box of Kleenex. Come on now. This is the sort of story that I want to pass on, the knowledge that I gained and the things that I did. Thank you, Erica. That helped me, because it is really so precious when you want to bring a child into the world and you want to do everything that you can to do this. And there's just not a lot of support telling you how you can make it happen. And if there are a lot of messages saying that it's just too late, you can't do it. But if you're kind of like not a quitter and you want to you want to prove them wrong, and you want to prove that maybe you can beat the odds like me, then you just keep on keeping on and try things that people might think are crazy, and maybe you get lucky. So I don't know if I got lucky or there's really something to it, but the more that I have. Do you have a cup of tea? I have a cup of tea, and I hope that you brought something soothing to enjoy while we're having this little chat here. So I felt so blessed, so fortunate, and I felt so much empathy for all the women who were on this path who maybe didn't have these ideas and this knowledge. And I really wanted to come back and share what I could with others. So I did start doing that. Thank you, Sally. And I went beyond just retelling my story and what I did, and I'll share with you more details about what I did myself. Um, but everybody wants to know, what did you eat? What did you take? What did you do to improve your egg quality? And I can tell you the principles I followed so that you can create your own program, but I don't want to make a step by step do what I did, because I did what I thought was right for my body, and what's right for your body is going to be unique to you. So what I've been doing since my successful pregnancy is delving more into the research to figure out what is it that might have worked and how does this apply to others, not just to me. And what I found, the first thing that I it wasn't the first thing that I went into. I started trying to explain my system, and then I decided to pick up a book that had been published right around the time I was last trying to conceive, but I didn't go into it because I thought, "I've got this, I've got my plan, I don't want new information." But it's a book I know you all have heard of. Tell me if you've heard of the book, It Starts with the Egg. How many have heard of that? How many have read the book, by Rebecca Fett, It Starts with the Egg? Anybody? Come on, I can't be the only one. People talk about it on the internet all the time. So she is a total biochemistry geek who went through her fertility challenges, and she wrote a really fantastic book where she went into the areas that really resonated with her to look at the science behind egg quality and egg development and what can make a difference. And she did these things herself. She was younger. She was in her early 30s, I think, when she did this. And she turned around and wrote this really well referenced book on the science behind egg quality. And when I delved into that, I saw things that really were just so eye-opening to me and so affirming, because it helped explain scientifically how what I did might have made a difference. That it wasn't just something, it was something random I pulled off the internet, the idea of it, but the book explained to me why what I did might have worked. Now, I actually didn't do things quite the way she suggests in the book, and I'll explain a bit um, how I think what I did still lines up with what she talks about. So she explains that there is recent research that shows how, contrary to what we're often told, that we start with all the eggs that we're ever going to have, we're born with all the eggs we're ever going to have, and across our lifespan, the quality just gradually drops down. And by the time you get into your mid 30s, it's getting lower and lower. And by the time you're 45, it's practically down to there are no good eggs left. And it's sort of this notion like milk goes bad, there's no getting it back. Once milk is bad, it's spoiled. You just have to dump it out. What she found in the research was actually, yes, you're probably born with all your eggs, although there's some controversy about that now, but that's irrelevant for our conversation right now. You're probably born with all your eggs, but they don't start their maturation process until maybe 6 to 12 months before you're going to ovulate. So I think of this as if they're in the deep freezer storage section, and then every month when you're going to ovulate, it's drawing from eggs that have been recently brought out. So let's say 6 to 12 months, I don't know exact time frame, before an ovulation cycle, a group of eggs are brought out of the deep freezer to start their maturation process. And eventually one of those in that group is going to be released for a monthly ovulation. And most critical in the development of that egg is the last 3 to 4 months before it's released. That's when the DNA are starting to get to the point where they're getting established and dividing. And that is the point at which what you do can make a difference. And the mechanism of what is happening to make a difference is your mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cell, are helping fuel the development of that maturing egg. And mitochondria need to be strong enough to properly fuel it. So imagine like you've got your electric car plugged in for charging. You've got to have enough energy in that charging station to power up your car. So if you don't have enough energy, then the developing egg doesn't get enough support to do proper development. So this is sounding very logical, very sensible to me, that if your body is not having enough energy in those cell powerhouses that fuel development, you might come out with an egg that didn't quite get what it needed to form properly. So this is the premise in the book. It starts with the egg, and she then goes on to look at areas that she worked on, which was nutrition, supplements, and environmental toxins. Those are the main ones that she talks about. She looked at how nutrition impacts mitochondrial functioning, which then we understand impacts egg development. So she made many nutritional recommendations to help support your mitochondria. And then she looked at supplements. She looked at a number of supplements and how they might support better mitochondrial strength to support egg quality. And she looked at environmental toxins and found that there are many environmental toxins in our personal products, perfumes, all kinds of things that we're exposed to that might negatively impact our egg development. I don't know if that's via mitochondrial functioning or just directly. I don't remember exactly what the mechanism is. But what stood out to me when I read that was I didn't make any significant changes in any of those areas when I was doing my egg nurturing. So I remember I took that 3-month period to do everything I could to nourish myself, to improve my egg quality. I didn't know about all this mitochondria stuff at the time, and I hadn't read her book, and I did not take a lot of supplements. I did take two. I took a prenatal vitamin and I took ubiquinol, 100 milligrams. And ubiquinol is a form of CoQ10, which has been well supported in many areas of health research for supporting stronger mitochondrial functioning. So that was one that I was taking, but a very small dose of that. Many people are taking 300 to 600 milligrams a day. So 100 is very much on the smaller side. So that was the only one that I was taking. I didn't make significant changes to my diet, except making sure that I ate, reasonably nutritiously and ate often enough, because sometimes I get too busy to eat and I'll let myself go hungry. So I made sure that I wasn't doing that, but I didn't change really the kinds of things that I was eating. Granted, I already had a fairly healthy diet. And environmental toxins, my lifestyle is just pretty much clean of things like that. I don't use a lot of cleaning products and personal products anyway. So I didn't really make changes in the areas that she talked about, but the things that I focused on, and this is from my years of training as a mind-body psychologist, where I'm always looking at how does what we're thinking about and how we're feeling influence our health. So, Rebecca Fett is her background is in biochemistry or something like that. So she's naturally looking toward the things that are part of her education. My background is psychological functioning, and particularly the mind-body connection and how our mental and emotional health relates to our physical health. So I was naturally looking for myself in that area, and I knew that I had a lot of stress going on in my life. I knew that I was under-rested. I knew that I had been on an emotional roller coaster of trying to conceive. And how many people know this roller coaster? You start the month getting yourself together, getting hopeful. You get stressed out around ovulation time because, certain things have to happen at the right time and you want to make sure you're getting it right. And then you've got a relationship you've got to take care of that needs to line up at the right time. And then you've got the 2 weeks when you're waiting and or what's happening in my body, and I'm going to go test now, and what's it going to be, and I'm going to look at this little thing and see if this line is coming up, and if it's not, oh my gosh, is this ever going to happen? Can you relate to this cycle of stress? Does anybody, please tell me I was not the only one. And then at the end of the month, there's no double line, your cycle starts, and it's like all this so it's a whole month of roller coaster stress when you've been trying to conceive for a while. Thank you, Erica. Don't leave me hanging out here. I know I'm not the only one. I read the forums. Um, so I knew that, thank you, Verena, definitely crazy stressful. I knew that, I practice a lot of self-awareness. I knew that I was highly stressed. There were other things going on, health issues in my family that were highly stressful. Um, and and I was going through miscarriages before my my previous pregnancy. I was going through a miscarriage during the month before I got pregnant. So, I mean, my stress level and my ability to for my body to be really well resourced was not optimal at all. And when I read Rebecca's book, It Starts with the Egg, I looked at this thing, so these things she looked at affect mitochondrial functioning, which affect egg development. So then I said, well, what about stress? Does stress affect mitochondrial functioning? And so I went to Google, I researched it, and indeed, chronic stress negatively impacts your mitochondrial functioning. So that was the missing link. That was the missing link that explained how what I was doing was making a difference for my egg quality. That is my theory. I can't test that out at this stage, but that's my theory for how what I did worked. The other things I did was I established a regular exercise routine. Rebecca doesn't talk about that at all in her book. And so I Googled that too, exercise and mitochondrial functioning. And wouldn't you know it, they had specific studies where they would put people through exercise routines and then take tissue samples and actually look at their mitochondrial functioning after having been engaged in exercise programs. And they saw definite evidence that exercise improves mitochondrial functioning. So all of a sudden, this opened up a whole realm of things that could potentially improve your egg quality. The other thing I worked on was sleeping. I am a night owl. I have so many things that I want to get to. I want to push, and go. And, maybe I'm sleeping 6 hours a night when I'm in this mode. It's not enough for me. So that was the other thing that I did. I said, nothing is more important than my sleep. I have to go to sleep to nurture these eggs so that I can have a successful pregnancy. And so I would put that in front of myself all the time. If I want to take care of the baby that I want to have, I need to go to sleep right now. I need to go to sleep early. So after I read Rebecca's book, I Googled sleep and mitochondrial functioning, and indeed, sleeping better improves your mitochondrial functioning. So this just like blew open a whole range, way beyond what you read about in It Starts with the Egg, which again, I still think that's such a great starting point to understand the premises. But it's not just supplements, it's not just nutrition, it's not just environmental toxins. It's anything that might improve your mitochondrial functioning, which includes your emotional well-being. It includes your sleep, it includes exercise, and probably a whole lot more. And in fact, I put together a free downloadable guide. I'm going to link to it right now as we're talking about it, where I talk about, I give you a bullet list of 20 strategies for improving your egg quality. And it's based on the premises that I just talked about right now. That's a free download you can get through my website. And it'll add you to my email list if you want to hear regularly from me about the programs that I'm offering. And that's just a brainstorm of things that you can think about that are likely to indirectly impact your egg quality through helping boost your mitochondrial functioning. And are there any questions that are coming up? Is this resonating? Does this help you feel more hopeful? I just sort of light up with agitation when I read on the forums how many people have gone to get testing and are being told, your egg reserve is low, your AMH is low, you've had miscarriages, you have terrible egg quality, you just don't have any good eggs left. And I want to shout it from the mountaintops. I don't think that's the whole story. I don't think that's the whole story. I have my personal story. I've got all this research that Rebecca Fett has done a wonderful job of putting together. There's more research beyond what she put together. There is a whole there is a whole scientifically grounded theory about how that's not the whole story. Your eggs aren't just bad milk that you have to dump out after a certain age. There's this possibility that by nourishing yourself, you can essentially buy back some years of vitality and energize this whole process that matures your eggs in the months before ovulation. So there are two key things that I want you to keep in mind. If you are trying to conceive and you've had miscarriages, or you're concerned about having a miscarriage, or you're concerned that egg quality might be an issue that's preventing you from getting pregnant. So, couple things that I want to make sure that you have in mind. It's very hard when you're living on this 28 or so day cycle of thinking this might be it and this might be it. It's very hard to think 3 months ahead and to think that you might want to put yourself on a plan that might delay this process by 3 months. I totally get that. In fact, after my first miscarriage, it was Halloween time actually, because I was at a pumpkin patch with a friend who is very dear to me. I really respect her a lot. And I shared with her, I just had a miscarriage. And she goes, "Oh, I'm pregnant." It's always the thing you want to hear when you just had a miscarriage, right? "I'm pregnant, but," and she shared my estimated due date, of course. But she had previously had a miscarriage like 6 months before. And she took 3 months off, got acupuncture, really took care of herself because she wanted to restore herself to reduce the chance of a future miscarriage. At that stage in my process, I thought, wow, that's really cool, but that doesn't apply to me. I'm 45 years old. I cannot wait 3 more months. That's not in the cards for me. So I didn't exactly say it. Well, I probably did say that to her. Not that way. I was like, yeah, but it took me 9 months to get pregnant this time. I don't think I can wait a 9 month. I need to try right away. So, so I did try right away and I miscarried again. And that was a point where I was like, remember how Amanda said she took some months off? Maybe I'm going to reconsider that now. So even though I was 45 and 9 months old, I was getting very close to 46, I decided that it was my best chance to actually take time off. So I just want to share that with you, that as you're hearing about this 3-month window to nourish yourself, it might be hard to set your calendar that far ahead and think that you're going to do things for 3 more months to hopefully get a successful pregnancy down there. But I'll tell you, looking back now, my daughter's 3.5 years old, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, it doesn't matter that much. And I know there's that time pressure of like, well, what if I stop ovulating next month? What if I'm too old and everything just falls off the cliff with my fertility? It's a tough thing to balance out. But if you're really having miscarriages and you're concerned about it, it's something to think about, that an extra couple months might be actually your best chance. But that's something that you need to kind of sort out for yourself, because nobody can really say what's that next egg that's coming down the line. But if you understand the principles, you can make choices that you feel most comfortable about. So that's one thing that I want you to understand, that for this process to work, it's not so that you can get pregnant next month. It has to be something that you're doing with anticipation of a pregnancy 4 months or more from now. Um, the other thing that I want to really impress upon you is that I don't know how much each of these things plays a role. Is it environmental toxins? Is that the main thing that's going to make the difference for you? Is it nutrition? Is it cutting out those for processed food and carbs? Or maybe you have wine every night and that kind of needs to go. Or cut back the caffeine. Or maybe it's start an exercise program. Maybe it's sleep more. Maybe it's decreased stress. All of those things are very actionable things that you can do if you want to learn about how to do each of those things. You can learn about the most healthy diet to support your eggs. You can learn about how to exercise to support your health. The one that is the most sticky in this whole lineup of options is decreasing stress. Decreasing stress. It's very easy for someone to say, just relax and you'll get pregnant. Yeah, how easy that is. Or to say, take 3 months and really chill out, really calm yourself and nurture yourself so that you're at ease for 3 months. It's really easy to say that, but how do you do that? I mean, I can't just give you a cheat sheet. I cannot give you a free download. I have a free download for you, 8 no-cost strategies to decrease your stress. I can give you that information, but it doesn't fully guide you through how to do it. It's not a checklist. And you probably know this from many experiences in your life where you're like, wow, I need to lower my stress. And somebody can give you a list of things you can do to lower your stress. But it's a matter of um, finding out. And, this is my life's work as a psychotherapist, is guiding people through an evolution inside themselves to decrease their relationship with stressors in the world. It's not a simple checklist. Okay, here's a breathing practice. Here's a tense your muscles and release exercise. And maybe a couple tips will work for you, but I want to tell you, don't feel bad if you try to decrease your stress and it doesn't go down easily. This is something that I work extensively with people over long periods of time to help them uh, re-educate their system on how to dial down stress. So it's not something that is a super snappy checklist. And this is what I discovered in the first year of running a program to help other women improve their egg quality. I try to give out all the tools to teach all of these principles that I'm talking about right now. And the women who were participating were so awesome. They were so courageous. They were doing everything that I was guiding them to do, except the decrease your stress piece, because that's not a checklist item. Like you can say, okay, I'm going to change my eating habits and go change them. But you can't say, okay, I'm going to decrease stress and go change it like that. I mean, some people maybe can, but most people can't. And I realized that a lot of what I did during that 3 months of drawing everything in and nurturing myself was based on everything that I had learned, all the tools I had learned and developed as a psychotherapist over the last 15 years. And that was stuff that I knew very well, but didn't always apply to myself. But it was already in my toolkit. And when I said, the most important thing for me right now is to sleep, eat, rest, and exercise, I already had those stress management tools in my toolbox. I just needed to apply them. So what I'm leading up to here is right now in the programs that I'm developing and offering, I am building out some really cool, sophisticated programming to help teach you how to dial down your stress in really deep and effective ways. Because it's not simple and it's not easy if you don't know what you're doing and where you're going. And what I don't want to do is show you my bookcase of 35 books that I read and learned from and over the years to develop these strategies and say, hey, here's my book list, go read all this. You don't have time for that. But what I have done that I'm so excited about is I've put together a program. It's kind of blowing my mind as I say it. I'm so excited about it, where all you have to do is show up 15 to 20 minutes a day for 7 days and follow my guided practices. Follow my guided practices. This is the 7-day TTC Chill Out Challenge that I'm offering for the second time starting on Monday. And when I put this together, I knew that nobody has a lot of time. You don't have a lot of bandwidth and energy to think about a lot of things and figure things out. And that's so much of how I've taught before, is helping people understand concepts and things like that. I realized that I have to find a way to convey this that's reasonable and quick for people to get. So I said, I'm going to not talk about all these principles and stuff, but we're going to dive in with people who are willing and ready to try what I'm having to offer. We're going to dive in. I'm just going to guide you through these practices. So this is what we did last month, September 9th through 15th, 9th through 15th. And I just started putting up these practices for 150 women who signed up for this challenge last month. And it was so amazing because so many of you are here, and so many of the people who found it through my YouTube channel, which means they like this kind of affirmations and meditations guided practices that I offer. So they were already kind of ready for this sort of thing. And I was just floored at how willing everybody was to just try this out and share comments so I could see how people were processing it as they went. And it was really exciting and encouraging how much difference it could make. Just not talking about all the theories, but just jump in, be open, and try it out. And so we did this for 7 days in a row, a different style of practice every day. And the amount of shift we had in how people felt, the amount of like stress and constriction and hopelessness at the start compared to at the end. And I have a self-assessment measure that people fill out and report on at the beginning and the end, so I could actually see where were you at the beginning and where were you at the end, and how you felt about your life, how you feel in your partnership, things like that, across the week. And just 15 minutes a day of following these practices, where I have distilled down and integrated so much of my knowledge and perspective about the mind and body. I'm weaving in a lot of mindfulness practice and body work. It's not just meditations, it's moving the body, because talked about this in the live casts on stress management. The mind and the body move together. And if you're only working with the mind, the body is not coming with you. If you're only working with the body, the mind is not coming with you. Work them together and they move together. So this was part of the magic, I feel, that was in there. And there's another part of the magic that's in there that's baked into the 7-day program. Well, there's a few factors that I think make it work. And I really hope that you'll consider joining it. I'm going to put a link here. Two more parts of the magic, I think, are we're doing it 7 days in a row. No stopping to drift off and get distracted by other things for 3 days and then come back to it. I really think that the consistency of going day after day after day helps the practices to build on each other, and helps the growth to really accumulate quickly over the week. So I have incentives to keep people engaged through the week. We're giving out awards to people who show up every day and comment every day, things like that, because I think it's so beneficial when you do it every day. And the other piece of the magic, and if anybody's here who did this, who did the program, chime in if you feel like this was part of it, but the community, having other people doing this together, I thought was really powerful, because it's exciting to know that we're all somewhere around the world. There's 100 other people doing the same meditation, holding these same dreams, rooting for each other, and coming together around this really unique and special mission together. So this is why, somebody in my private Facebook group said, well, can you just offer this program for people to start at any time? And I thought about it, it's like, it's kind of convenient, but I think it waters down a lot of the impact of coming together with a group of people to do something like this. I'm going to show you this. I like doing post-its so we can see who all is involved in things. This is who is already signed up for the program that's starting on Monday. Anybody see your own name on here? I think there are a few of you here who are signed up. There's more. I've got another sheet because we've got room. I'm not going to let this grow too big. I don't think it will. I don't want to have 1,000 people in here, because I want people to be able to get to know each other. And I'm going to be really active, more so than last time. I'm going to be really active in the group, giving feedback and helping you along as you go. Last time I was actually creating the content as we went, so I was very busy. Now the content is created, and I'm looking forward to being able to sort of be more present and alongside it, and responding to a lot of the comments that are coming up as we go. So are there any questions? I'm going to pause for a moment and look at my notes and read your comments to see if there's anything that I have missed that I really wanted to touch on. Okay, coming to the comments here. Okay, yes, Kendra, thank you for sharing this. Kendra says, so for anybody who missed it, Kendra did the challenge in September. She participated every day. She is actually also the recipient of the Supportive Sister Award. She got a rose crystal heart as an acknowledgement for being so supportive of others through her commenting through the week. So that was really special, that she also got pregnant right after. So she got pregnant her next cycle. And Kendra says, for me, I really think stress management was key. I started figuring that piece out in June and made it a huge priority all summer. Make time for you. Now that I look at it, it really was 3 cycles that I made that a focus, and boom, pregnant on the next one. That is, I have to say, for all the pregnancy stories I've been getting, sometimes people will post in the Facebook group, sometimes they'll email me. For a lot of those stories where somebody has been trying for a good long time, they didn't just start last month. A lot of those stories, what people will share about their process is that they've been doing this work for a few months leading up till now. So even though Kendra just did the challenge, she didn't just drop in and start working on herself and then that happened. She was already doing a lot of self-nourishing in the months before. And I've seen quite a few cases like that where somebody said, maybe they've been using my meditations. I have a affirmation recording focused on improving egg quality. And it has all of these suggestions in there to help you focus on your health, your sleep, nourishing yourself. All of these things are in there. So some of the people who are getting pregnant right after the challenge, they've been using these meditations and applying these principles for a few months now before they came here. So I think that the challenge can help really kind of bring it all together. It can help teach you deeper stress management tools than you might have accessed on your own. And it can be that magic rebalancing that helps a pregnancy happen. The egg nurturing piece, though, needs to start several months before you get pregnant. And that's why I think I'm seeing some of these successful pregnancies happening for people who have already been doing this kind of egg nurturing activity. Maybe they didn't even know that's what they were doing. They were just trying to take care of themselves. But they had already been doing that for 3 months or 5 months beforehand. before they came to the challenge. And I think the challenge sometimes just brings everything into alignment. And there is one research study that's really fun that shows that women who they tracked women's self-reported stress across their cycles and found out that the cycles when they were less stressed during ovulation time, they were 40% more likely to get pregnant. So I think that's part of what's happening with the success we're seeing with the challenge, because I've already gotten word from several women who got pregnant in their very next cycle after the 7-day challenge. So thank you for sharing that, Kendra. Let me continue through the comments here. Roxana, so happy for you, Kendra. It makes so much sense to take care of ourselves first. I think I barely understood it a month and a half ago. See, there you go, Roxana. So recognize that this is just starting to click in for you. Roxana did the challenge. She was very engaged, I think really getting it. She's now in the Conceive with Ease program. That's a follow-up. And this is, think of this as the beginning of a few months process. And then you don't feel like, oh, another month it didn't work enough. No, you are on a path. You're on a path, and it's just ramping up right now. Kendra says it's hard to find people near you in real life that are going through what you are. It's so incredible to be in the same place as so many other people. Yes, and I really felt this when I was doing my own egg nurturing. I was involved in forums online for women over 40 who were trying to get pregnant, but nobody was trying to do what I was trying to do. Everybody was super stressed out and just chasing after supplements and interventions and not even doing it in a sensible way, just throwing everything at it that they could. There was so much desperation. And I was trying to do this like Zen, I'm going to nourish myself. And I would try to start threads, say, who wants to do egg nurturing with me? And people would kind of join, but it would fizzle out. And I always had a dream that I would be able to create a community one day where others could come together and not be the only one, not be the lone wolf out there trying to do something natural and nurturing. So I'm going to cry again. It's very exciting to me to be inviting you all together and seeing you show up, just so open and supporting each other through this. That's so valuable. Becky, you're going to do it again. Becky is going to do the challenge again. Wonderful. And Kendra, I listen to different meditations daily, including during acupuncture sessions. I actually have somebody in this community. I didn't allow this person to join the Facebook group because he's a he, and I thought it should all be women, but he was trying to request to join. I was like, who's this Edward guy? Why does he want to be in our fertility Facebook group? So I followed up with him individually, and it turns out he's a Chinese medicine practitioner in Singapore who has an acupuncture clinic and specializes in helping women with fertility. And he's been having them listen to my affirmations during their acupuncture sessions. And so we've made a sort of a email pen pal friendship. We're both so busy, we take 3 weeks to respond to each other. But he's already invited me to connect with him if I ever go to Singapore. And I'm hoping maybe to have him as a live guest for one of our programs to talk about Chinese medicine and how it applies to fertility. Does anybody have interest in that? Just comment in the chat. Yes, that would be great. If you think you'd like to have my Singapore Chinese medicine connection do maybe a guest spot if he's willing to do that. I can ask if he'd be willing to do that. So during acupuncture is a great time to listen to your meditation recordings. Roxana, can I sign up again too? Roxana, you are in the Conceive with Ease program. So let me just mention what my membership programs are real quick here. Once you do the Chill Out Challenge, you have fulfilled your prerequisite to do my follow-on programs. And I used to let people join the programs at any time, but I started realizing that I'm realizing now that having this foundation in the way I approach stress management is so fundamental to being able to really get the most out of my programs that I'm now going to make this a prerequisite, because I just want you to come in with the best chance to be able to do my programs well. So I have 2 programs. One is called Conceive with Ease, and it's an extension of the 7-day challenge. Once you get inside, we don't even call it a challenge anymore. We call it a retreat. This is a 7-day retreat where you learn this whole range of mind-body practices to calm yourself. And if you love it, if it resonates with you, if you want to continue, I've got a follow-on program. It's a monthly membership where I have more weeks of content that follow the same structure, daily practices covering these different mind-body approaches. And it's just a little bit different material each time to deepen your process of integrating the underlying concepts of staying present, accepting what is, non-judgment, all these pieces that I've woven in but haven't really talked about. I start to guide you along a path of deepening your understanding so that your practice can get more and more effective for you. So that's the Conceive with Ease program. Roxana is in that. Becky is in there too. And one of the perks of that is you can do all my future challenges at no extra charge. It's included with your package. I want everybody to be doing these challenges together because I think that they are so inspiring and effective. So if you end up doing this and then joining my program, you can continue doing any of my future challenges. And I think I will come up with some other ones that go deeper into breathing practices or working with sleep and things like that. But more and more ideas always coming to me. The other membership program I have is the Optimal Fertility membership, which is based on my 90-day egg nurturing program. And that is really my signature program that is based on everything we talked about here today about nurturing eggs over a 3-month period, including nutrition and exercise and sleep and all these different parameters. I include how to do a comprehensive assessment of everything that might be affecting your health, your fertility, your egg quality, how to find practitioners to help you with that, what different kinds of medical protectors. You have your reproductive endocrinologists, reproductive immunologists, you have functional medicine, you have traditional Chinese medicine, you have naturopaths. Oh my gosh, there's so much. So I help you sort through how to thoroughly assess what's going on and figure out how you want to dial in a custom program for yourself and stay motivated along that path. So that's a pretty involved program. That's my higher tier program, which includes some live coaching sessions where we get together on a Zoom call, brainstorm, support each other. And if you do the 7-day challenge, you're eligible for either of those programs, and I can help you sort through which one might be right for you. Okay, I am going to look more at the comments. I'm just really loving being able to talk to you all here and get your feedback as we go. I'm getting a little more used to this format. I'm going to have a sip of tea. Okay. Roxana says, wow, interesting, this Edward contact. I'm trying to remember his last name. Let me see real quick if I can pull up his website, because he has a blog. You can get to know a little bit about him. Edmund Pang. And I'm going to pull up his blog site. Okay, I can't pronounce this, but let me just copy this. I'll copy this whole sentence from him. Okay, so this is Edmund Pang's TCM. Okay, and this is an excerpt from his email that he sent me a little bit ago. Oh, I can't post that much in here. I have to shorten. Okay, so there's his website address. He is very much kind of integrative. He's open to working with traditional medicine doctors too. I really like his attitude and his approach to everything. So check out he writes a lot about nutrition too, I believe, on his website. Okay, and Becky says I work with a Chinese medicine doctor who gave me herbs to help empty everything out, so I didn't have to do a DNC. I hadn't heard of that, using herbs to conclude a miscarriage. Okay, Whitney, the guy you mentioned as a guest sounds great. Okay, I think he's going to be excited. I never talked to him. We've just emailed each other. I'm a fan of Chinese medicine, says Becky. I'd love to hear from Edward. And now we know his name's Edmund. sorry, Edmund. Or we could call him Dr. Pang, actually. Okay, Whitney says, I didn't officially sign up for the 7-day challenge, but for the past week, I've done a morning practice, meditation, gratitude. I'm feeling awesome. Wonderful, Whitney. And if you want to sign up for the challenge, I don't know, I haven't heard from you lately, but it is starting on Monday, and you're in the Optimal Fertility membership, so that is included in your membership. Just make sure you get in before Sunday night, 9 p.m. Pacific time, because I will be closing the doors. I don't want people to trickle in because it's really a whole it's like a retreat. Would you want to be on a retreat with a group and then somebody arrived the second day? Hey, what's going on? No, that's not good. So you need to sign up before 9 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. That's when I'm going to close it. I was also going to close it if we got too full. Like if 1,000 people were signing up, that's too much. I don't think we're going to quite get there. We have 35, we have about 40 people in right now. But I also know that this is human nature. I know this from all the online marketing I've been learning about. People sign up a whole bunch at the beginning and then a whole bunch at the last minute. This is human nature. I'm the one that signs up at the last minute too. So there might be a rush at the end. I don't want this to get so big that we can't recognize each other's names and get to know each other a bit. So I will close it if it gets too full. So I encourage you, if you're feeling like this resonates with you, just go ahead and sign up right away so that you don't get distracted and realize that 10 o'clock Sunday night, or you wake up Monday morning and realizing the boat's leaving without you. And if you're not sure, if you're on the fence, please sign up anyway, because I feel so confident that this can be so powerful and game-changing and life-changing for you, that I really want you to have a chance to try it out. And if you're concerned about making the investment, it's $29. If you're concerned about making the investment, you're like, what if I get in and I'm like, buyer's remorse. If you get in and start, and let's say I'm going to say by day 4, if you feel like this is not your cup of tea and you're not getting anything out of it, it's not worth the $29 and the 15, 20 minutes a day. If it's just not speaking to you, I will refund your money. Okay. I don't want anyone to come through this and feel dissatisfied. I want this isn't going to resonate for absolutely everybody. Okay. This is not everyone's style, but I want you to feel comfortable to come in and try it out. And if it's not working out for you, just let me know. Okay. Okay. But for anybody who is in Conceive with Ease or the Optimal Fertility membership, this is included. So, I hope to see you there. Becky, unfortunately, I don't know the name of the herbs. Oh, yeah. Chinese medicine herbs are very complicated. So you really have to, it's not like other kinds of supplements where you could say, oh, I took Vitex or I took ubiquinol. Chinese medicine herbs are so complex and we don't understand them if you have a Western mind, it's even hard to comprehend the whole framework of what they're doing. So you really have to be working with somebody who's taking your pulse and looking at the colors of your tongue and things like that are way out there. And they will come up with a special formula of herbs for your specific situation, what they're trying to help balance out in your chi. So Whitney, I think, was asking about, or somebody might have been asking about the herbs, because Becky said, I don't know the name of the herbs. Verena, please post the 90-day egg nurturing program sign up somewhere. I will post information to that I have left that open for enrollment, but I am going to be I'm going to be having the 7-day challenge be a prerequisite, because I've really come to believe that you're going to have so much more success with that program if you do the challenge first together with everybody. So I'm going to post the link to that right here, and you can learn all about it. And if you're interested in doing that, start with the 7-day challenge first. Okay. Becky, cinnamon, lots of cinnamon. He told me to help empty things and not use a lot of cinnamon when pregnant. Also eggplant, I remember. Okay, so this is the recipe. This is a recipe if you are needing to try to have a natural D&C, it sounds like. Okay, but like I said, please work with somebody before you start experimenting with herbs on your own. Large amounts of vitamin C. Did I miss something? Is somebody going through? Oh, I missed this comment. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, Preeti. Going through a difficult second miscarriage right now. Would it be possible for you to also do a video for clearing out RPOC after abortion so that I don't have to go through hysterectomy or D&C? Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss and for what you're going through right now. And I understand now the comments. I didn't understand what the comments were referring to, offering some support. So let me just take a moment. If you're here still, Preeti, I think you are. Are you currently waiting for everything to pass? Is that where you are? I have a feeling that that is what's going on. And this is actually, oh my goodness, Allie, miscarrying right now too. Okay. This is a soulful resonance for all who are going through losses right now, and who could use some deep inner healing right now. Okay. So sending energy to everyone, Allie, to Preeti, anybody else in this circle who's going through something like this. Preeti says, I've been given a second dose of medicine today and asked to report for ultrasound after 10 days. Okay, so I am going to I'm going to offer to email with a few of you who are going through this right now, because I think that we'll take that conversation offline. But what I will say is, I actually went through a very similar situation with my second miscarriage. I mentioned earlier that I miscarried at 9 weeks. That's actually when the heartbeat stopped, around there. But I didn't actually miscarry until 12 weeks. So there's a little bit of a story in there, and the experience of trying to get this thing to come to a conclusion and move on, the whole experience. And this is tough. And this is what I was talking about earlier. We don't have a lot of candid conversations about miscarriage for a whole lot of reasons. And some of it's really tough, and some of it is stuff that we don't really want to put out in the airwaves to people who don't need to know, who aren't going through it right now. And that's why I will take this conversation to email. Go ahead, either of you who are going through this, email me and I will follow up with you. Info at yeah. I used to think, before I went through any of this myself, I just had this impression that when someone miscarries, the pregnancy just goes away. I think my mind just didn't want to go there and say, well, what happens? When you hear about stillbirth and okay, there's a birth. But what happens with a first trimester miscarriage? Is it just like evaporate? It doesn't. There's a process. And that process is another whole thing to navigate that there isn't always a lot of guidance around. So my heart goes out to those who are going through this. I'm going to connect with you offline more about this if you want some more feedback from me on this stage of your process. Okay. Where are we right now? This has been quite... let me make sure that I got to all the questions here. Roxana, does stress, nutrition, and exercise impact fertility in men same as us? Fabulous question. We're always talking about the women's side and the eggs. 50% of fertility comes from a sperm. It's the man's side. So I have not gone extensively into that in my own research, but I've been coming across it as I'm doing the women's side of the research. And every time I come across things for men's sperm health, it pretty much mirrors what we're doing for egg health. Very similar. So you can kind of guess that a lot of these same things can impact men's fertility as well. Dr. Edmund Peng, I noticed on his website, he does address men's fertility stuff too. So you might find some stuff on his website. But I can just tell you at a glance, it looks like very similar things can affect the male side. And I encourage anyone who's having troubles to also have their partners checked out to make sure that you're not doing all this work and actually the problem resides on the other side, and you lose a lot of time that way. Okay. Okay, any other questions, comments? How has this time been together? Holy cow, an hour and 16 minutes. Let me know how this has been helpful for you. You can comment during the live stream. You can come back on to the replay and share comments below that too to let me know, how was this helpful? What else would you like to hear about? Do you have any questions about the challenge that's coming up starting on Monday? I really hope that if you're not already signed up, you'll be joining us for that. It's very special and powerful experience to not only, I believe, improve our fertility, our chances of getting pregnant, but to change for the better your relationship with this process of journeying to create new life, to do this really magical spiritual thing, to grow your family, to invite your body to do something just really miraculous and amazing. And I think we can get so lost in the technicalities and the details and the striving and trying to gain control of this thing that's not totally under control, that we can lose our heart, we can lose kind of our soul in this process. And that is a lot of what is woven into the 7-day retreat, is to reconnect with your essence, reconnect with your partner, reconnect with your spirit about what all this is about. Because I think we're going to try to get all of our ducks in a row, get everything lined up, and then we have to let go of control to a certain extent. And along the way, I've just become so much more deeply connected to this in recent times, as I've been through some difficult losses in my own family. And I just believe so strongly that we want to have the most quality of life that we can every day, every week, every moment that we have time with our partners, with our loved ones. And even as we're moving through towards something that we feel is eluding us, we don't want that to take our joy away from the life that we have right now. So that is sort of an undercurrent in the 7-day challenge and in all of my programs moving forward from there. I want you to be able to enjoy and embrace your life and your relationships as you move toward this goal, no matter where we end up, because we just don't really have guarantees. We don't know how much we have time, and we want to make the most of each day, because each day is a gift. And it's been a gift to me to spend this time with all of you here today. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your time, for being open, for sharing comments. I've really treasured this time. I hope to see some of you right inside uh, the retreat program. It's ready right now for you to get started, meeting people, introducing yourself, getting ready for the week to start. I read all the comments that come up, and I'll be busy responding to comments pretty soon once we get through this little phase of kicking things off here. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, and I look forward to staying connected with you. Bye-bye.